Lee. No one has better connections to this company than Susan does. Susan, what do you make of it?
Yeah, so despite a global economic slowdown here, Neil, world's biggest company, Apple, still making $83 billion in sales. And that was the best springtime in the company's history. And it also indicates to Wall Street, and I think maybe Amazon's getting a lift off this, that things are not going as badly as feared. So I just got off the phone with Apple CEO Tim Cook, and I asked him about the GDP print this morning. He said he would leave the recession call to the economists. But for Apple, he says, look, if you look at the products, there's no obvious evidence of a macroeconomic impact for our iPhone business. Mac and iPad were affected by supply constraints. You have the wearables, the home, the accessories. We did see some impact, he says, from the macroeconomic environment. There were some services like digital advertising that were impacted by the macroeconomic environment as well. Now, Apple, like Microsoft, also being affected by the strong dollar, though I think it's less than what Microsoft saw. And Microsoft took $1 billion hit in the spring on inflation. You have Tim Cook saying that we're seeing it in logistics. Things like wages are going up, silicone components, and we're also taking that into consideration when they determine the margins that they make on their products. Now, on the supply chain, here's what Tim Cook is seeing. He says we did better and better than we thought. If you look at the supply constraints for the September quarter that we're going into, we're seeing it's going to be less than what we saw in the springtime in that June quarter. So we get that things are continuing to get better. The takeaway here, Neil, is that the consumer continues to spend, especially on high-end, four-digit items like iPhones. And also for the world's largest company, it's also the most widely held stock on the planet. You can imagine it's in your IRA or in your 401ks, and I think this is a bit of relief here.
Big time relief. Thank you very, very much for that, Susan Lee. By the way, the relief